Where do you come from? Classified, really? Me too. Big secret. Nima Outpost is that way. Stay off Kelvin Ridge. Keep away from the sinking fields in the north. You'll drown in the sand.
Don't follow me. Town is that way.
Welcome back to the studio, and this time I bring you the Bandai 1/12 scale BB-8 build. Now, I've already showed you the R2-D2, but we're going to concentrate more on BB-8 this time. And he's available in a larger scale, which I do have in my stash, and I'll be building that later on my channel here for you. But we'll go ahead and concentrate on BB-8 in this case for this video. And as you can see here, not a very big kit, but it should be enjoyable to build. And recently Bandai did announce another release of another Star Wars kit, so I'm looking forward to that, and I'll put photos of that here. You can see fantastic here, and I can't wait to get my hands on this kit. Wonderful. Now, these kits are becoming rare, especially ones with R2-D2, and this one here I have not found anywhere, but maybe on eBay you can find resellers there selling them, so it's a very rare kit. I've already built the R2-D2 out of this kit, and these are the parts that were left over from that. And I'll put that aside. Also, I like using the stickers as preferred. This did come with water slide decals, but I love the stickers for these kits. And of course, here we go. Here's BB-8 sprue trees, water slide decals, and 2 stands, and the rest of the parts. So let's get started. If you're a regular subscriber to my channel, you've probably already seen me do this. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. This way you get updates to all my latest videos. And smash that like button. It really helps with the algorithm and gets my channel out there. But I do recommend a very good, high quality pair of plastic snips. And these will get into tight places, especially these Bandai kits. Some of the parts can be quite hard to get off the trees. A good sharp X-Acto blade, be careful when using that, and then an assortment of sanding sticks and sponges. Also, if you want to make things permanent on these kits, you got to be very careful with it, but you can use some extra thin cement. Mr. Cement S I recommend. The Tamiya is just as good, and of course Revell has their own brand of this type of cement. It has a bigger brush, which makes that handy too. Bandai's kit instructions are superb in that they really explain everything on how to handle your kit. In this case, it's showing you how to find the parts. So we're on tree B1 and part number 5. In this case right here would be tree number C, part 13. Then they explain how to cut off the parts, and this is why I was saying you want to have a really good set of nippers that can get really close. You want to cut it. They're showing you cut it off not quite at the edge, but if you have a real sharp pair, you can go at the edge with that. If you have a mediocre pair of snippers, then go off the edge a little bit, then you can sand the rest of that nub off. And then they talk about removing the nubs themselves, cleaning them, and what not to do. And lastly, you have your gates, and you have undergating. So undergate would be underneath the part there, and you need to cut it off like this and then like that, kind of an X, to get that undergating out. Here's an example of how the tree is identified, and you can see there's the D for that tree. And we have an E for this tree. The other cool part I like about Bandai kits is how they give you different color styrene and how it's merged together on one tree. That's really cool there. Same with the clear parts are merged on with the white, and then you have the clear smoked parts merged on there too. So that's not actually black, that's a smoked plastic. Very cool there. And of course the part numbers are well pronounced on the kit. Right there, and right there. There, and there. Part 29, you have to trim off this piece here that they showed us to do in the instructions. Then we can take an X-Acto blade, trim that off. Or you could take a sanding sponge and sand it. Step 1, slide this all together. Remember, this is a snap together kit. It's designed to snap together, so you really don't have to use any glue whatsoever for this. Takes a little bit of force to get these together. If you are arthritic in your hands, these kits could be difficult for you to build. And in the instructions here, it also shows you where the undergates are with these arrows here, and what it says right there. This is the undergated part, and the attachments are at the gate right there. 3 spots. I'll show you what I mean when I turn it over. So the undergating is this part right there, and right there. So when I cut it, I'm going to go right up against it, and then when I turn it over, the undergates are sticking up right there. So you can see when I turn it over, you can see the undergate sticking up, and that will interfere with the assembly. So I'll take my and trim that off. Okay, all 3 undergates will need to be trimmed. Here we go. All 3 are trimmed off. That's how you do the gates. Again, another part that has undergating right here. And just a little bit of a sanding sponge there. There we go. Alright, so we'll fit this all together here. Just like that. And get everything to line up. Everything lined up with that. This one right here. Line that up. And lastly, this one here. Line up the nub. Good. That's good. So that completes everything up all the way up to step 1, number 2. Step 1-3. Once again, these parts need to be cleaned up from the undergating that happened on these. And we'll go ahead and install our clear smoked piece. That looks good there. And line up the large hole with the smaller hole on top here. That snaps down on that. And just put just a tap of glue on here to hold that in. And we can put the next part on. Has like a little T cut out. Perfect. That's how that looks. We have some antennae that go on this. I'm going to leave those off for now. We'll put those on a little bit later. So the top of BB-8 is complete. That's how he looks there. Except for the antennas. I'll put those on last so we don't break them along the way. But looks good. Next we'll work on BB-8's sphere, our main body. And these will simply snap together here. Line up the very large hole there, and everything should snap together. There we go. And then we have a whole bunch of his sides that we need to assemble that will go on to this. When working on the sides of the main body, you'll see that there's different shapes identified here and where they go actually on the part, and I'll show you that here in a second. But that's what that means there. The first one I'm going to work on is this one right here. It has that shape. And then the next one will have this shape right here. Here's the first side piece that I told you about. There's that shape. And then the back side there. Now you'll note that there is a notch right here. And there's a corresponding cutout for that. So we'll put that in. Now if the gray part does not fit in and it's just doesn't feel right, then you know you don't have it in right. Now we'll take and line up our 2 tabs that stick up right there with those 2 notches, and we should be able to just squeeze everything together here. And there you go. That's our first side piece. And I'll bring this over here and we'll line that up where it needs to go. And there we go. Just like that. Pretty simple. The rest will go together just like that. And don't forget this part here, it only goes in one way. It has a special cutout for it. Make sure it's cleaned up real good, and then there you go. It will not line up with the other side. Step 2-2, I'll be installing these side pieces, and note they are kind of the same way. This one has the circles, this one has its unique shape right there, and then this one right here has a different shape. So they'll only go in one way on the sphere or the main body of BB-8. Here they are, all cut off the sprue and cleaned up a bit. Now we'll go ahead and install these onto BB-8 here. The first one are the circles. So we're going to line that up. Large circle, small circle. And that's going to go right on in. And then the next one are this shape here. So that should line up just like that. And then the last one looks like that shape, and right there. So then you can see how that looks. We have a few more we need to put on, 2 more. And the final 2 pieces. And this one right here only goes on one way. You can see it kind of inserts on that H shape, and it's simply just going to go down just like that. Turn this over and we'll take this one here, and it's going to insert just like that. And there you go. We have our BB-8 body completed. Now we're going to go ahead and mount the head to the body. Next are the clear parts to mount the head to the body, and these just snap together here, circle to circle. And then we'll take a hinge point here, and that's going to go just like that. And that's how that looks there. Then we're going to take our BB-8, and it's going to go down on top of that little base there, and slide this in. And that can go on top of that. And of course, our head, once that is on top of that, that's how that looks. And it's able to turn and all that. We can put our head on top. Like that. That's how that looks. And it almost looks like it's floating, just like the real thing. Okay. Now that we pretty much have this assembled, I'm going to go ahead and put on those antennas. I'm going to take this out of the way. And the first antenna is going to go into that notch on the back of his body there. Just like that. See how that looks. And then the next antenna is smaller, and that's going to go just like that. Okay. That's how that looks. Now I want to just take just a touch of glue on each of those, and that should do it. We'll let that dry, but they look pretty straight, and that's how that looks there. And we'll proceed on here, add some other small parts to it. Alright, checking to see all the parts I still need to install on this. I noticed I had a yellow part, number 30, and looking at the instructions, that needed to go in on step 1-2, and it goes in right there. So I'll go ahead and cut that off and insert it, and right there, and really didn't affect anything, went right in. Okay. For BB-8 we have various utility arms and panels, different options here that you can install. So I'll show you some examples of that. One of the options is this item right here, and that will slide into one of the compartments, and what they want you to do is take this cover here, this part, and snap it together just like that, and then you can take and slide that in just like that, and that's how that looks. If you don't want that sticking out like that, then you can take the cover and put that on in place of it. Okay. The next item is this one right here, and there's two different arms you can choose, and this door mechanism. So this door mechanism will slide in like it slid sideways, and then you can choose either this arm or this arm. Or if you don't want any of that showing, take it off and put the cover on it, and you're good to go. Nothing shows. Now I'll show you one last option with this. The last option is to install this. This is the optional top for BB-8's head, and the way we do that is we can push beside these two panels, we can push in, and that'll allow us to remove this panel here. Once that's removed, then I can go in there, and it only installs one way, I hope. There we go, and that will go on there. Then we can take BB-8's head and slide that on, and there you go. That will go on the stand, and that's how he will look. Here's the instructions for the decals or stickers. there you go. That completes the Bandai 1/12 scale BB-8. And I hope this video helped you out with your build of this particular kit. These kits are becoming rare, but Bandai is still out there producing some of these Star Wars kits, and I'm sure that some of the rare kits will resurface again for us all to build more of. I really enjoy these R2-D2 and BB-8 kits that they came out with, and looking forward to their newest release, which is from the Mandalorian series, and I'm looking forward to that. So I have that one pre-ordered and ready to receive that and build it when it comes. I'll give you a full review of that kit, and I'll build it when it arrives. So if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button, everybody. Happy Star Wars, and take care.